You've logged on to www.dailyrecord.co.uk. David McCarthy, Gavin Berry, Scott McDermott, myself, Jim Traynor have just been discussing Neil Lennon's call for Rangers to be stripped of titles. Gavin? No. That's what he said before we went on air.
The guy beside me.
He said he should be stripped of titles.
I think as Neil Lennon said himself,
but not from my side.
Bring that feeling back.
From
he said,
above.
You know, and
yeah, but does it not the case? Should you not? If it's shown that Rangers are guilty of their use of EBTs, or if they have dual contracts, and therefore they shouldn't have those players, should they have those titles still in the record books?
yes, I mean, I just don't know what it would achieve really by taking them away. And at the end of the day, football, I mean, you still have to sign players. You need to play, you know, football matches are won on grass. You've still got to pick players to win games, and you know the manager still had to get out and sign these certain players.
Yeah, but if you're using money that you really shouldn't be using, or using it in a way that shouldn't be used, then you wouldn't have had those players, would you?
But does every club no spend money that they've no got? That's what, if that's the crux of Neil Lennon's argument, that Rangers,
every club does.
I mean, Man United are what, 800 million worth of debt. I mean, you start taking things off you and saying Sir Alex Ferguson isn't the great manager that he is because he's overspent.
But this is all about sport and integrity, isn't it?
Yeah, and Scottish football's been full of that in the last few years.
Honestly, if I hear that much more, especially from some of the people who are putting it about, and I'm talking about people who are running football clubs, get on about sport and integrity. It's got nothing to do with sport and integrity.
No.
If it had, we wouldn't be in this mess.
Absolutely.
You think there's been is there now a malice against Rangers? The decisions being taken through vindictiveness now?
I think that it's that we'll possibly reach that stage. I think that you've written about it a few times, Jim, that there comes a point where the club has to stop being punished. I think it has been punished quite substantially.
But then the SFA, well, they still argue, don't they, David, that demotion to third division for Rangers is not a punishment, it's a consequence of their own actions.
That's right.
But
well, you know, but you could argue that all day. The fact remains is that they will be starting out in the host league. At the minute, they've still got a 12-month transfer ban hanging over them now. Whether that pans out or not remains to be seen. They were fined 160 grand. They lost 10 points last season for getting into administration, which again is a consequence of their own actions. You know, fully admit that. But what I'm saying is that eventually you've got to start letting that club play football again.
I would be surprised, I must admit, now that it's out there, because the record to the thing in the paper the other day about the number of titles, the exact titles in Scottish Cups that some within the games, certainly in the SPL, want Rangers just to lose now. But I'd be surprised if the SFA push for that to be ratified, or that I'll be surprised if they don't resist the calls for that to be ratified by them.
What makes you think that?
I just know these things, Dave. I just know these things. And I would be very surprised. I think the SFA are looking at it and thinking they'd be stupid not to now. We're in a bind, the SPL are in a bind, Scottish football's in a bind, so are Rangers. We need a way out. And if we're going to stick on titles that are not going to be given to anybody else anyway, you're not going to proceed with this process. Therefore, I think they'll see sense. And bear in mind as well, Stuart vulnerable, as Neil Doncaster is. They're both vulnerable because of their handling of this situation. They're both vulnerable. They both desperately need a way out. And if they can't get that way out because they're allowing certain people to say you must strip Rangers of titles and trophies, then it's the end. And I think those two at least realise we need to put that to one side now and find a solution.
At least, you know, if you do strip the titles, I mean, that is it. There's nothing else can be done. That is the absolute.
Well, no, because they are still insisting on the transfer ban. But here's a solution to a transfer ban. What if it was from...
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. These Rangers players, these Rangers fans, the Masonic Lodge, they scratch their own back. You guys can just decide what to do on your own.
Temporary suspension of your membership or complete termination of your membership, and that does nobody any good. Stuart Regan's the man who shot Rangers in that case.
The Scottish Cup thing is actually a bit of a misnomer. Dunfermline weren't kicked out of the Scottish Cup. Dunfermline won their first game 7-1 and fielded an ineligible substitute, and it was against Stenhousemuir, and they were then ordered to replay the game at Stenhousemuir, and they won the game, so they were still in the Scottish Cup. The reason why I know that, Jim, is because you sent me to Stenhousemuir that night.
and did they not? Was that not to play Celtic in the next round? No?
It was to play Celtic in the next
So
round.
they made,
That's right.
so they made a few quid.
Aye.
So it was hardly punishment.
But it's compromise needed now, isn't it? To get
Yeah,
this?
it is.
Compromise needed, and yet
It
there'll
is.
be a lot of people out there saying, no, you must strip them these titles. Is that important at this stage, do you think?
I think in the grand scheme of things it's not that important.
But if you're say you were a Celtic fan, would you think it was important then?
I think if you're a Celtic fan, you would probably be looking at Rangers being punished by having the title stripped off them, yeah.
I'm surprised at Neil Lennon's comments, just knowing the type of player he was and the type of guy is. Like Gavin said earlier, I just think in Lennon's mind, no, it wouldn't matter who he was playing against. Probably those Old Firm games and those seasons, he would have believed that they lost
I think
fair and
Stubbs
square.
said that,
Do you know what I mean?
not long ago, that basically you go out and you play your football in the park, and
Yeah.
if you win, you win. If you don't, you don't.
I think we have to get beyond titles. Not that my team ever win any, but I think we need to get beyond titles now and just try and move this on and find a compromise, because it's going on too long. The season's about to start, and are we going to start a season without Rangers?
Well, you would think not, Jim, but the way that everything else is planned out, I mean, seriously, would anybody have thought 3 months ago that Rangers would be playing in the third division?
Yeah, and also you've got to factor in Charles Green as well. We still don't know what he's doing.
No.
And there's another guy, Craig Mathers, isn't he, from which is effectively a sports agency, I think. Maybe doing a bit of service, and he's saying, I've got 10% of Rangers for £1 million. I mean, they're throwing bits of it away for loose change, basically. Now, if this continues, anybody who really wants to get a Charles Green and build this club up again is going to have to negotiate with a posse of people who want a wee bit here and a wee bit there, and you'll never get that club. Seems a bit chaotic the way they're doing it, does it not?
So what do you think his long-term
Here's a
plan is then? Is there a long-term plan?
Right. Does he want to get into a situation, because bear in mind, Charles Green has never been shouting and screaming about the sanctions. We're not taking this is unfair. Never. There's one man has, and it's McCoy's. But nobody else in that board has. None of the other investors have been saying, this is outrageous. So why are they quiet on this? Why are they accepting everything? Is he want to be boxed into a corner where he says, Rangers fans are not buying season tickets off me. The SFA won't give me a membership. I'm selling all this. And shutting it. Is that a possibility?
Would it not be
Well, it's a
better?
possibility.
I just wonder what the end game is for Charles Green. He's always been up front and said, look, I'm in it. He wants to short term, he wants to make money, and then he'll move on. But I mean,
Well, his plan's messed up now then.
but it was the same with Craig White. We kept saying, well, what is the end game? Where does it end? And I can't see where the attraction is for Charles Green. I mean, he must have known there was a chance he could end up in a lower league, but it's not an
But
attraction.
would it not make more financial sense for Charles Green just to bite the bullet for 2 or 3 years? Will it not be worth far more if you can get him back into the SPL, get European football again?
But Rangers fans have been shouting about, protesting about the sanctions, but the guy who claims to be acting in their interests hasn't said a word. I just find that strange that you've got a guy who's supposed to be the manager, Alan McCoy, still doing the chief executive's job, because he's at the SFA and saying, you can't do that, you can't do this, we're not accepting this, it's unfair. The chief executive should be doing that, surely. That's not a manager's job.
Yeah.
The manager's job is to put a team in the park, get players. In Rangers' case, they can't at the moment because there's a transfer ban. Right, but anyway, we'll cut this short now. Stripping all the titles and trophies?
No.
No.
No.